What is happening, guys? I don't know why I drew it the what. Welcome back to another episode of Friday Night Fight Talk. I am your usual host. I don't think it'd be anyone else. The notorious, the one, the only. That's what Bruce Buffer's saying this weekend, Jay. And welcome back. So, this card, we got, we got a big one. We got UFC 309, Jones versus Miocic. Amazing. Actually, I shouldn't say amazing. This is a okay card. You know, it's getting better, and you know, it's growing on me. But this has the potential to be either one of the best or one of the worst cards in the year. And knowing that Nikita Krylov and Azamat Murzakanov off this card, I'm actually leaning towards it being one of the worst cards of the year. Of course, we got 297. That was dog shit. Sorry, Canada. I'm sorry, my home country. We also had 302. 302 was mid as fuck. I'm not going to lie. That's one of my least favorite ones. A lot of people don't agree with that, but kind of because it had fight of the year on it, or one of them. 301 was pretty shit, but this is also looking kind of ass. But kind of cheeks. It's getting a little better. But right now, I'm just looking at the website, and the background of the New York skyline either looks like it was made by someone who really doesn't know how to draw that well. Which, I mean, it looks good on the poster. Or it looks like AI. And I'm leaning more towards AI. Anyways, let's get into the picks. Alright, so, opening up the card, early prelims. We got generic women's fight number 1. So we got Veronica Hardy versus Eduarda Mora. Eduarda Mora looks like just Ronda Rousey, but not Ronda Rousey. Like, in some angles she looks like Ronda Rousey, but then some angles she really don't. So I don't know if I'm the only one seeing that coincidence. Veronica Hardy, a complete decisionator. She fought Jamie Lynn Horth, the Canadian. That's right. And she's coming off how long's her win streak? 3-fight win streak. Oh, that's good. But looking at who's gonna win this, you know me, it's a fucking coin flip. I don't give a shit about this fight. But this is the one opening it up. So let's see here. Let's flip coins. We're gonna go heads, Veronica Hardy, tails, Eduarda Mora. It is tails. All right, we're going with Eduarda Mora by decision, of course. Moving on. There we go. Actually, good fights. We got Basil Hafez versus Oben Elliott. Basil Hafez's last fight was Mickey Gall on 302. But before that, he fought JDM in a very, very close fight. Genuinely surprised how good he did in his debut against JDM. Who, look at JDM now. Top-ranked contender. That was a very close fight. And then we got Oben Elliott. Oben Elliott fought on 304. He beat Preston Parsons pretty confidently. But he also has fought Val Woodburn. Both these guys have one win over like a good contender and then a bum. So Oben Elliott fought Val Woodburn. Real bum. He wasn't that good. And Basil Hafez fought Mickey Gall. Also not good at all. But I am going to say, let's go. Yeah, I'm going Basil Hafez by decision. I'm really going off the JDM fight. He looked really good in that. Now, granted, the Mickey Gall fight, that probably shouldn't have gone to a decision. But next up, sorry, a little distracted. We got Mickey Gall and Ramiz Brahimaj. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that's how you say it. Let's see. Whoa. Sorry. Okay, that should be over. We got Mickey Gall, Ramiz Brahimaj. I think that's how you say it. Mickey Gall, he really hasn't looked that good. He's got a 7-6 record, which that's almost a losing record. If he loses this fight, he'll have an even record. He fought, Hafez on 302, lost that. Got fucking demolished by Mike Malott, our Canadian god. Destroyed by Alex Morono as well. All around had really bad fights. Like, he lost to Mike Perry, too. But he's also lost to Randy Brown. But you know who he did beat? He has 2 UFC wins. One of them, Sage Northcutt, who also is out of one championship now. But you know who else he's beaten? I mean, he also fought, or he's won a couple other fights. Like, he won, who was the guy? George Sullivan. Like, he just pulls off a win every once in a while. But you know who he did beat after his 2-fight win streak? He had a 3-fight win streak, his longest win streak. He fought Mike Jackson, who, if you know Mike Jackson, I'm pretty sure he was like a camera guy that had like some fighting experience that they hired. He had the first win over CM Punk. He had the first win over CM Punk all the way back then. And even Mike Jackson had the win over CM Punk. And he literally was a fucking camera guy with a losing record. So, looking across the octagon, we got Ramiz Brahimaj, however the fuck you say his name. He's another guy, pulls off a win every once in a while. I actually think he might have a losing record in the UFC. Yeah, he does. So, he's not great. Every win that he's had has come by a finish. So, who am I picking here? I'm gonna pick Mickey Gall by a decision. He seems to pull off a win every once in a while, and I know he's a bum. He's probably the most unreliable person that you can pick in the UFC. But I'm picking him. All right. Next up, we got. I'm surprised this is on the early prelims. I'm not gonna lie. This should be higher up on the prelims. We got Marcin Tybura versus Yonata Deniz. Yonata Deniz was supposed to fight Derek Lewis on UFC Edmonton, but Derek Lewis, we still don't know what happened with him, but he ended up falling ill or something, and he's out. So he got rebooked to fight Marcin Tybura, and this is a close one. I know I'm having long breaks of silence. Trying to balance the eating. I'm back on eating on fucking Friday Night Fight Talk. Should be food on Friday night food. That's a smart video idea. Copyright that shit. I'm telling myself to copyright it. So, Marcin Tybura has shown that he can take on top-level opposition. He fought Sergey Spivak in the one episode of Friday Night Fight Talk I did not release. Or, I guess if you're on YouTube, the Cannonier versus Kyle Barrio episode didn't release. That one was an oddity because I uploaded it and it just didn't. It didn't upload. So I guess it became a Spotify exclusive episode. But he's also submitted Tai Tuivasa in the first round. Man, that is sad. And he's lost to people like Tom Aspinall, but he's also beat people like Romanov. So against like low ranked opposition, we can see him win. But at the same time, against a striker, it's a little odd. Because Marcin Tybura, I would say he's a grappler. That's just me. But Yonata Deniz, big striker. We haven't seen him grapple. I don't think at all. Forget if there's a moment at all that he grappled in his last 2 fights. But he's a really good striker. The thing is does Marcin Tybura get caught? And I'm not going to lie, I think so. So I'm going to pick United Deniz by round 2 technical knockout. That might be a hot take, but Marcin Tybura is also coming in on short notice here. So it's really sketchy for him as well. Anyways, moving on. Prelims, we got David Onama versus Roberto Ramiro. The man, that is a generic name. So Roberto making his debut, I believe, on short notice. I think Onama was scheduled to fight, who was it, Lucas Almeida? I think. But I think Almeida's out. I mean, actually, no shit. But Onama's looked really good recently. His only loss as of recently, like a couple of years, is Nate the Train. And, like, that's not a bad loss. Nate the Train's pretty good. A lot of people thought it was a draw, too. But he's looked good recently. And he has the potential to finish you. He'll probably, like, I think he finishes most of it. If I'm not wrong, I think his last fight was his only fight that was a decision. So, what am I picking here? Because I don't know much about Roberto Ramiro here. So I have to say I'm picking David Onama by round 3 submission. Not going to go round 1, not going to go round 2. We're going to go round 3. Submission. I do not know much. If he has good takedown defense, it'll be a KO probably. Both these guys probably from anywhere, I think, could win this fight. But I think David Onama is either going to knock him out or he's going to submit him. But I am going to say he submits him in the 3rd. Next up, we got Jim Miller versus Damon Jackson. Jim Miller coming in as the underdog here. I'm very surprised. Damon Jackson, with his goofy fucking face, big grappler. Both these guys are big grapplers. I think this is going to be a good jiu-jitsu fight. But Jim Miller, he's been around for so long, it's really tough to say. Because Damon Jackson, he's one of those guys it's tough to predict if he's going to win. Because he's lost to people like Dan Ige, Billy Q, but he's beat people like Alexander Hernandez. Alexander Hernandez, and he's beat who's the other guy? Pat Sabini. So like he showed that he can he showed that he can do things like this. He's shown that he can win. Obviously, everyone can do things like this. He's even fought Taporia. That was the brutal KO, if anyone remembers that. So what do I think is going to happen here? I am not going to lie. I'm going to go Jim Miller by decision. I know a lot of people are probably going to say the damage from the Bobby Green fight is going to affect him. I don't think so much. Jim Miller, he's all around. He's always been great. But maybe come up a little short when trying to get into the rankings. I really think he's a good gatekeeper in this division. And Damon Jackson isn't that high of a skill level for lightweight, especially. Lightweight is a very skill-heavy division. I get he has a lot of finishes. But Jim Miller is a great grappler too. And that's where we see Damon Jackson most of the time. So I'm going to say Jim Miller by decision. Next up, this was on the main card. But it got bumped down to the second prelim, or second final prelim, third prelim. Fuck, I don't know. We got Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. This is a really tough fight to predict because Chris Weidman hasn't really showed that he's back yet. And I get that he was still winning the fight against Bruno Silva. He was still winning that fight, but the eye pokes were apparent. That was like, boop, 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 boop. The KO was a fucking... Oh, they're like, oh my god, he finished him. Eye poke, ground and pound. Like it was bad. Still got overturned to a UD for him, but he hasn't really shown that he's fully back. Like he lost to Brad Tavares. Now granted, he was gone for a while, so with the hard work, we could see him bounce back after this one. And then we got Eric Anders. Eric Anders I gotta say, he's a really good middleweight gatekeeper. Like, if you're good, like, if you're good in the middleweight division, you'll probably beat him. But if you're, like, not quite ready yet, he'll kick your ass. He will kick your ass. We had, what's his face? Was it Jamie Pickett? Yeah, it was Jamie Pickett. And then we, of course, have, like, Marc-Andre Barriault's most recent win, I'm pretty sure, over Eric Anders. And I'm not going to lie, if you can get beat by fucking Marc-Andre Barriault, come on. I mean, I'm Canadian, I even admit, not great. Like, maybe should have been cut after his last loss. But with that being said, I'm going to pick Chris Weidman by decision. I really think so. I think this is going to be it. I think this is going to be his big win. He's finally back. And I think he's going to retire. I think he's going to retire after this. He's 40 years old. He shouldn't be doing this anymore. It's probably best to just live your life now. Enjoy it. All right. Next up, featured prelim. Should be main card. We got Jonathan Martinez and Marcus McGee. Jonathan Martinez, he had that fight with Jose Aldo on 301. Really good fight. Jose Aldo's come back, and a lot of people are saying that Mike Martinez is a bum. He's got to be one of the most underrated ranked fighters. Jose Aldo is you're forgetting who you're talking about. You're talking about literal fucking Jose Aldo, all right? Like top 10 all time, or some people's books top 5. And then he has that win over Adrian Yanez, Said Nurmagomedov, Cub Swanson. Really good wins all around. And his leg kicks, man, they're crazy. But Marcus McGee, he's another dangerous prospect. He's got an 100% finish rate, only one loss. We saw his last fight. His last fight, the guy who's fighting, he's the Ilia Topuria lookalike. He's pretty chinny, but I don't know. It's tough to say. But I gotta say, I'm gonna pick Jonathan Martinez by decision. Marcus McGee, he only has 3 fights in the UFC, and he's a really humble guy. I like him a lot, but you gotta have more fights to get ranked at bantamweight. Like, bantamweight is one of the most skilled divisions. Like, outside of lightweight, it could be bantamweight is second. You really gotta have a lot of fights. You really gotta be prepared, because the boundary between ranked and unranked at bantamweight is huge. It's massive. So yeah, you really gotta prepare yourself. And 3 fights, I don't know if it's enough, but yet again, I could see him winning. I would like him to, I would like it if he won, but I'm pretty sure Jonathan Martinez got this in the bag. Next up, we got Mauricio Rufy finally is back against James Lontop. This is catch weight. I'm not sure who made this a catch weight. I'm gonna go leaning more towards James Lontop, coming in on short notice. Also a bit of a chunkster, but we don't have to bring that up. James Lontop, he had his last fight against what's his face? It's the Russian guy. Borshev. Fucking what's his face? I think he's Slava Claus. He fought Chase Hooper. He lost. But he did win over James Lontop. He also fought, what's his face? Chris Padilla, who's looking real good right now at lightweight. And he lost that too. But still, does he have potential to win this? No. No, you gotta remember who he's up against. And this is weird, because I'm saying all this about someone who has one fight in the UFC, who has one fight against Jamie Malarkey on 301, which is a long time ago. That was May. But 100% finish rate, and looked amazing in his debut. Unreal. And he's also part of the Fighting Nerds. I didn't even know this guy was part of the Fighting Nerds until like a month after he fought. Even though he put the glasses on after, I guess I was just fucking oblivious. But I'm picking Mauricio Rufy to win this fight by round 1 KO. Like, I'm not gonna lie. The catchweight might do something along top, but it's not much. Like, yeah, he's definitely out of this one pretty early. Next up, we got... cut my lip on the cracker I'm eating. We got Vivian... Oh, fuck, how did I say that name? Vivian Araujo versus Karine Silva. This is the other generic women's fight on the card. As to why the fuck this is on the main card, I don't fucking know. But, well, actually, I do. Because Karine Silva has... she only has one decision, and it was her last fight. So I'm thinking that they're thinking this is going to be really entertaining. Which, I don't know. It could be. I don't know. But, let me just get this out of the way. Karine Silva is going to win this. It's going to be a finish, probably, just because of how high her finish rate is. You know me, most women's fights, I'd probably choose a decision. But seeing her with a high finish rate like that, I'm going to say just a KO. It's going to be a random, brutal women's KO, or women's fight KO. Yep, got that one out of the way. All right, next up, we got middleweight. Can't believe I just brushed that off so fast. We got middleweight. We got Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. Not the fight I expected to see. I actually expected to see Joe Pyfer versus Paul Craig. But Bo Nickel, a lot of people are high on him, including the president. Not my president, but the president. And that doesn't mean I didn't want Trump to win. I'm not saying shit. But I literally live in fucking Canada. Like, he's literally not my president. I'm not making shit political. But Bo Nickel has 3 wins against fucking bums. Like, absolute cans. He's one of the biggest can crushers in the entire UFC. He has a win over Jamie Pickett in his debut, Val Woodburn on, 290? And Cody Brundage. All 3 of those guys, is Jamie Pickett still in the UFC? No, he retired. Jamie Pickett retired. Val Woodburn got cut, if I'm not wrong. Did he get cut? Actually, I'm surprised. I don't know if Val Woodburn got cut or not. And Cody Brundage, who was definitely on the edge of going to the PFL. So, really not a great resume. Next to Paul Craig, who, in my opinion, is notorious for taking O's. He fought Andre Muniz, fucking KO'd him somehow. Paul Craig, he don't get KOs that often. Just very surprised. And Andre Muniz is a pretty good middleweight. My bad. Also submitted Nikita Krylov, who looked really good at that time, and submitted Jamal Hill, literally taking Jamal Hill's out. And way back. Also, not to mention Shogun Rua. Yeah, I forgot to bring that one up. But he fought, what's his face? Oh yeah, this one, right? I remember. Magomed Ankalaev. If you know Magomed, he's got 1 loss on his record. Paul Craig subbed him at 4 minutes and 59 seconds of the very last round with a fucking triangle choke in Paul Craig's standard fashion. Like, are you shitting me? Now, granted, this is the same guy I may have been praying for to beat Kyle Barrio for some reason, even though I like Kyle Barrio now. I didn't like him at the time. I thought he was overrated. But who do I think is going to win this? Because I'll say this. I don't think Bo Nickel is going to submit Paul Craig. I get it. Fucking Jimmy Crute has submitted Paul Craig. But I don't think he's going to submit him. Like, Paul Craig is a big step up in opponents. But do I think the plus 800 underdog Paul Craig is going to pull it off? No. I don't. I'm thinking Bo Nickel by second round KO. Just because Bo Nickel's got a lot of power in his hands. We saw it in the Val Woodburn fight. Jesus Christ. That was brutal. That KO. That would have hurt. But I don't think Bo Nickel deserves to be, yet again, a minus 1,350 favorite. Like, that's not justified. It's Paul Craig. Paul Craig is good. Like, oh. Anyways, oh, man, this co-main event, Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler, the rematch. Years later, both these guys fighting again. So the first fight was actually quite close. Michael Chandler definitely won round number 1. Dropped Oliveira in standard Oliveira fashion. Oliveira, his comeback game is crazy. Shut up. But then Oliveira came back in the second, and he beat Michael Chandler really quickly. Like, he opened a pot. So, who do I think is going to win this? The rematch. So, a lot of people are saying Oliveira's on downfall. But who the fuck is picking Michael Chandler? Like, come on, guys. Seriously? 2-year layoff. 2-year layoff. Let's get that out of the gate already. Has already lost to Oliveira. Has a losing record in the UFC. And got subbed by Poirier. That's just to name a few. There's worse shit I could say about him. But tell me he is not one of the most overrated UFC fighters. I'm not going to lie. He beat Dan Hooker. He beat washed Tony Ferguson. Oh, not to mention, that was the other thing. He got dropped by Tony Ferguson in that fight. How the fuck do you get dropped by... I mean, it wasn't exactly washed Tony Ferguson. But pretty bad Tony Ferguson. Anyways, Charles Oliveira round 2 submission. I'm going with that. And the main event. We got John Jones, not Tom Aspinall. We got Stipe Miocic. So John Jones, this is going to be his last fight. I'm calling it now. He's retiring. He's vacating the title or he's retiring. He is not going to fight Tom. He is so scared of Tom, he is not going to fight him. Quack, quack, quack. He's a fucking duck. He is not going to fight Tom. So he's holding up the division, not fighting Tom. That's great. Stipe might retire as well. I'm pretty sure Stipe is going to retire no matter what. Unless, actually, if he wins a title, he might fight Tom. I'm not going to lie. There are higher odds of Stipe fighting Tom than John, which is crazy. But who do I think is going to win this? Is it really that hard to pick? I'm going John Jones by round 1 submission. I'm just going to say it. Stipe has pretty good wrestling, and he's got power, but I haven't seen him in so long, and he really didn't look that good in the Ngannou fight. The second one. The first one, he looked amazing. And sure, John's been off for a while, but we're talking about technically the greatest of all time. Looking at, due to my recency bias, part of me is saying GSP now. Due to my Canadian bias, I might also be saying GSP as well. But, like, man, at least Dana is making him fight Tom next so that he can just retire, because he's not going to fight Tom. He won't. But at least we don't have to put up with him still being the champion and ducking Tom. So I'm picking John Jones, round 1 submission. So that's it. Let's get into the Q&A again this episode. Starting off, we got, how underwhelmed were you by Reiner de Ridder fight last weekend? Is he the Dutch Bilal? I wouldn't say he's the Dutch Bilal. He's got more power in his hands than Bilal. Because he definitely, oh man, the end of round 1 dropped GM3 hard. I don't know if he's Dutch Bilal, but it was a little underwhelming. I don't even know if he cracks into the rankings. I don't think he does. What's next for Prates? I like the Jeff Neal fight. I'm not going to lie. I really like the idea of the Jeff Neal fight. Both those guys hit super hard. I'd be excited to see that one. Wonder Boy would be a decent Muay Thai versus karate striking matchup. Definitely. That's another good one. I don't want to see Wonder Boy get chinned, though. Because, like, it's probably going to happen. Jillian Robertson has been looking good in her last few fights. Amanda Ribas, I think I actually agree with you, Amanda Ribas. Let me check the rankings real quick. I should just have them pulled up on my phone at all times, but I don't, unfortunately. Let's see. We got, okay, so looking at her in the rankings now, she is number 12. Oh, Amanda Ribas is right there. That's actually a really good matchup. That's some pretty good matchmaking. Yeah, I like Amanda Ribas. After that, maybe she can get an Amanda Lemos or something like that. Dern. Something along those lines. That could be cool. What is with the Bo Nickel on this main card too? Man, I don't know. I would say, you know what? It can maybe be on the main card because Paul Craig's there. But tell me that he deserved to be on the main card of UFC 290. No, he didn't. Like, that was a stacked card. He did not deserve to be on the main card. Swap that shit out. And 300? That was even worse. That should have been the fight opening up the card. And it was on, the main card opener. Originally, it was higher than Oliveira and Armin Tsarukyan. That's horseshit. Yuri and Rakic being on the prelims was wild. They could have put anything on the main card. I would have been happy. I would have said maybe Davison Figueiredo, Cody Garbrandt, which actually opened up the card. That was fucking stupid. That's just me. I don't know. What round does Speedbag Chandler start bleeding? Well, he's not making it past the third, so he's not even making it out of the second. He starts bleeding in the first. Come on. He's going to bleed right in the first. Back to the old gloves. What the fuck is with that? Oh, man, yeah. The new gloves didn't seem to be bad, but it seemed like there was less knockouts, but does that also mean that they're getting rid of the gold gloves? Because that's just going to be weird to watch back. For 5 pay-per-view events, we had gold gloves. That'd just be weird for me. I'm not going to lie. But, I mean, it's alright, I guess. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the gold gloves are definitely broke a little with the eye pokes. But what round is John JBJ's first eye poke foul? Man, round... Well, it's not going that far. Round 1, I'm saying he starts off hot with his hand, fucking runs at Stipe with his fingers, just hand wide open. He's going to eye poke him right away. Next up, what are our next set of questions we got? Still can't say his name. Collab with Volk. I'd like some training shakes. That'd be nice. All right. Anyway, I know there are a few people saying Stipe might knock him out. Nah, I don't know. He stands a chance. He definitely stands a chance, but I just think John is that good. And Stipe has really been off for a while. This prime Stipe would probably win this fight. I'm not going to lie. Or maybe John would win the first fight and then Stipe would win the fucking rematch. Just like the DC fights. I ordered a towel of Temu with a picture of Volk taking up the whole thing. That's funny. I like that. I might have to buy one myself. I love Volk too much. I guess that's all the questions. Oh yeah, another thing. So I was fucking around on bet apps. And if you didn't hear about this, you probably did already. If you're listening for Birder, because I posted about this. But I had a 50-cent parlay. I just put 50 cents into it. I can't actually make it because the payout is too fucking high. But if I bet every single fight except Jones versus Stipe to be a draw, and then I pick Jones versus Stipe by round 1 submission, I would win $7.5 billion. Okay? No betting company has enough money to pay that shit out. All the betting companies in the world would have to combine or some shit. They're probably all losing money from Drake betting on it. Holy fuck. I don't know who Drake's bet on this card. If you bet on John Jones, we could actually have a fight here. But yeah, I wish I could make $7.5 billion. I'd literally have more money than fucking Dana. But I can't. Imagine it was trillions of dollars. That'd be fucking hilarious. You could pick... Oh, man. What's an actual parlay you could do for big underdog? All right, combine this shit. Stipe round 1 KO. Paul Craig round 1 submission. Who's another big underdog? James Law on top round 1 KO. Let's see. Oh, that's all the underdogs. All right, so yeah, combine that shit, make a shitty parlay, and you might make $1 million. Stipe round 1 KO, Paul Craig round 1 submission, James Law on top, round 1 KO. Definitely could see it. All right, I guess that's it. I'm really thinking of starting a cooking channel or like some fitness shit. I really like cooking. I want to make some healthy stuff, but then also some like snacks, some foods you can have for the fights, like if you have buddies over. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm still thinking about it. Anyways, thank you for listening. I will see you all once again next week. Bye-bye.